Alright, so this is not an I Am Your Slave reading. Oh, excuse me. But it is a, I guess, analysis of one of Eva's other fanfictions, which is the Fallout fanfiction, The Life of a Sex Slave. It's a prologue and a chapter 1, which I don't know why he called it a prologue. Oh, by the way, I'm going to try and get out 2 chapters today of I Am Your Slave. It is, I thought it might be a fun goal to see if I can get out at least half, if not more, of the 60 chapters of I Am Your Slave before Eva implements Asana. Maybe even before he gets her model in. I don't know. Not fully implement her, but so yeah, that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Let's see who is more productive. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this for kind of 3 reasons. One, it's by Eva. So if it was by anybody else, honestly, I would find this weird, but I wouldn't give a shit, you know? The second reason is because it's supposed to be more, about, like, it's supposed to be serious, and it's touching on more of, like, the psychological, aspects of the character and the situation, and the trauma that she's going through, which that's something I'm interested in. And then the third reason is because it's Fallout, and I recently got into the series. I have only played Fallout 4. I want to play the other games, but yeah, so reading through this, I was trying to be objective. I was trying to read it as if it was just some random shithead on the internet that I stumbled across. But I was still, I guess, kind of reminded that it was by Eva because just the way he's writing. And I was trying to think, like, what it was that was so, I guess, skeevy about it. And I think I've got it. He's not, okay, he has an author's note down here at the bottom of chapter 1. It says, I have tried my best to accurately portray the psychological trauma of a rape victim, but if you have any advice on making Samantha's characterization more realistic, please send me a message. He doesn't really touch on the psychological at all. I mean, I feel bad because, you know, rape is bad, kidnapping is bad, but I don't feel bad for the character. I know she hates it. He mentions that a couple times. But, like, oh, another thing psychologically that I just noticed, and I think what he was trying to go for is kind of a sort of redemption story where this victim goes through something awful, wants to kill herself, then gets a second chance. But it's kind of hinted at, but I think it's in chapter 1 when she gets out and, like, sees the sun or whatever. I don't think I mentioned she's dog. Okay, I'm just gonna continue. What was I saying? Oh yeah, she's in a cave underground, trapped by her. She only has one captor. By the way, there's one guy keeping her captive, which I feel like she could overpower him. But I don't know. And then a group of guys rescue her, as I said. But it's mentioned that she doesn't know how long she's been down there, and that it could have been years. So there's no timeline. Well, no, yeah, there is. This is happening one chapter right after the other, because it says, and I make the decision to end my life, and then the next chapter starts with her figuring out, like, what way to end her life would be best. So these are happening one right after the other. But she's just now, like, this, there's no indication how long before this prologue she's been down there. But if it's been years, well, yeah, it would have to be if it was mentioned. Like, well, the line is basically days, months, years. I don't know how long I've been down here. Or no, sorry. It's mentioned that, let me see if I can find it. She was kidnapped when she was 10. And, she's like a young woman now. So it's literally been years that she's been down there, and she's only just now contemplating suicide? Like, she's chained to the bed. I cannot act because I cannot move. My wrists and my ankles are chained down to the metal poles of the bed frame. I am only able to move when he unchains me to put me in a new position. During this time, I am also not a person. I am still just a body because I choose not to move. If I resisted him, he would beat me until I stop, and so I do not move. And he also, it's also mentioned, she doesn't use her voice very much. And then, oh, there's just so much. I'm sorry. I know I keep jumping around. But, she doesn't use her voice. Again, it's been years. And then how she alerts the second group that where she is, she calls out to them. And, like, if it's been years, she wouldn't have a voice. And somebody else mentioned, again, if it's been years she's been, chained to this bed. She hasn't moved. Like, her position has moved on the bed, but she hasn't moved from this bed. Her muscles would atrophy. She would not be able to walk. And, like, her mental state, she would just be, like, in ruins. She would not be able to live, like... Oh, it's mentioned that her captor feeds her gruel. Like, she would not be healthy. She probably would have starved by now, to be honest. Like, I know it's Eva, so I shouldn't be expecting much, but, like he says, like, accurately portray. From what? Your own... What are you drawing from? Your own experiences? Like, this is so... Oh, I'm just a body, an object. I can think and draw breath, but I cannot act or speak any more than the bed I lay upon. I cannot act or speak any more than the bed I lay upon. I just realized that sentence. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to mention. This entire story, and it ties into the fact he doesn't really touch upon how she feels beyond rape is bad. Sorry for my voice breaking. Rape is bad, and so you should feel bad reading this. The first chapter, at least, and parts of the second chapter, whatever, I'm calling them chapter 1 and chapter 2, they feel like the character is the victim, but the mindset feels more like the perpetrator. And I think that's the main reason I felt so kind of skeevy reading this. Because it's very sexualized. The parts that are mentioned in detail, like the feeding of her, that's just mentioned like in one little part of a sentence. But he goes on and on about the sex part and how, that's so awful. Like, what about the fact she has no freedom? The fact, like, she's not allowed any, autonomy of herself. What about the things she misses from her home life? Like, it just, it's just bad. Oh, one last thing before I sign off. I do enjoy that in the middle of this very serious, to be honest, the topic is very heavy, and that's one reason why I didn't want to just do a funny reading of this, because it just would feel weird. I want to make fun of the story, not the actions, not the characters. Anyway, in the middle of this, where is it? Yes, here it is. One of the men in the second group. Eva writes him with an accent. Like, he, phonetically. So you're just reading along, and then you get, "A what? A slave, you say? Holy mother of God, I didn't think we'd find a treasure like this down here." Like, I'm sorry for my bad, but I just got like this Dick Van Dyke kind of voice in my head when I was reading. Oh. That was just... Why are we talking about taking turns? She's got more than enough holes for the two of us. That's not at all how Dick Van Dyke sounds, or anybody in the world sounds, but it's too early. My voice is tired from talking. And I'm tired from thinking about this. It's just everything that's wrong. It's just... Yeah. So, there you go. You don't have to read this fic to know that it's awful. Though, I mean, it's by Eva. You already knew it was awful, but there you go.